And for more on this, I'm joined by our business editor, Charles Pellegrin. Hi, Charles.
Hi, Monty.
Well, so raising the retirement age from 62 to 64, it's the cornerstone of this plan. But there are other measures as well, as we just heard, the gradual elimination of the specialized pension schemes. So what are they, and why does the government want to get rid of them?
So these are basically pension arrangements found between specific sectors or companies and the French state to accommodate the particular conditions of these workers. There are over 40 of them, 42 to be exact. One of them, for instance, is that of the Paris transit workers, the RATP, which explains the strikes we're seeing today in Paris, or workers at France's gas and electricity companies like EDF, for instance. And this is often criticized as making the French system overly complicated and sort of Byzantine a little bit. And many criticize this as being an unfair system where people who work in the general system don't benefit from these advantages. So the government tends to follow that line and said, this is outdated. We need to get rid of them gradually and just get everyone to contribute to the same system. And what they're suggesting to start in September, when this reform would be in place, is that the new employees at sorry, at companies like the RATP, and EDF. Would stop.
Sorry,
stop
this has happened to me before. Let me, do you need a drink of water? Or
no,
are you
I'm
okay?
good. I'm good. I'm so sorry about that.
Okay, no problem.
But basically, new employees after September at these companies would stop benefiting from these specialized pension schemes and contribute to the general pension scheme instead. However, there are still exceptions. For example, workers at the Paris Opera have managed to hold on to their specialized scheme, or fishermen as well. So still, there's going to be more criticisms of unfair treatment. Though it makes sense that these groups would push back against reform, they would argue also that these arrangements are there for a reason. That their work requires these particular arrangements.
Well, and another aspect of the plan involves better support for older workers. Tell us about that.
Well, the government argues that to raise it gives as an argument, in order to raise the retirement age, that actually the employment rate among people who are between 60 and 64 is lower than the average employment rate for the general population, 6.9% as opposed to 7.4% for the general population. And also the other argument being made here is that other European countries have done it. They've raised the retirement age, and people work older and longer. However, they do concede that people who are unemployed at an older age tend to be unemployed longer, even until retirement. So in order to make this transition easier, they've suggested a number of things. For example, encourage more transitions, sort of gradual transition periods between working and retirement, where people could benefit partially from their pension schemes while continuing to work and have sort of both incomes. They also want to create what they call a senior index by which companies are assessed on how they treat older workers. So that would provide more transparency for the treatment of older workers. Unions want these things as is anyway, without the raising of the retirement age. So this is something that we'll fight for. And also worth noting here is that there's an increased spillover cost when it comes to people working longer. That means more payments in terms of paid sick leave, more payments in terms of unemployment benefits, and more payments in terms of welfare benefits as well.
Okay, our business editor, Charles Pellegrin. Charles, thanks so much.